would be your words to the Zambians? I know
You should vote for a program that changes the system, that recognizes the fundamental things that are wrong with the system. What is wrong with the system is not HH. It's taking advantage of it. What's wrong with the system is not UPND. They are taking advantage of it. What is wrong with UPND was also wrong with MMD, was also wrong with PF, was also wrong with UNIP. It is the system. So you need to have a choice or create a choice of people can change the system. We tried to do that, and one of the mistakes we made was to fall victim to being politicians.
Okay, so we should have
That
been
when we tried to change, we said politics is about numbers.
Yeah.
So even criminals, if they quarreled with Kaunda and they joined you, you cheered them. So whoever opposes your opponent, you embrace them. There is no examination. There is no filtering. There is no program that, okay, if we are against this team of crooks, in our team there should be no crooks. Instead, you even recruit some of the super crooks from the past, maybe because they may come with some wallets. So the quality of leadership, the character of leadership, the record of leadership is what you should vote on. So otherwise, as Zambia stands now, there is no hope in hell. There is a great deal of chance, a very big chance, that the present UPND government will not win. But there is no chance, there's no signs that they will be replaced by a better one. Because people's quarrels are tribal, are personal, are over positions. Because the same thing they would criticize someone for, if it is done by their favorite child, they'll have national days in honor of dictators, and then have voting days against dictators. No, we can't contradict ourselves like that. It means we are not serious. In other words, if a dictator who is your tribesman, who loves you, who gives you jobs, who gives you money, comes into power, that is not your problem. You welcome it. Only those who are out will fight you. And then they'll also just fight you to replace you, not to change the system or the character of leadership. That is what the problem is.
So I still come back to, we only have a year in between. And
no, what? If you are trying to change the system, there is no telling whether it will take a year or 20 years.
Yeah.
The system is not going to change in the next year election. Whoever you elect next year, you'll be handing them over the same cancerous constitution, the same personalized leadership culture, the same ideas that a ruling party owns government. So what would you have achieved? Those who were detained by colonialists.
They are political prisoners.
Yes. We fought against political prisoners in colonial days. Then some of the same people who were prisoners in colonial days became prisoners under President Kaunda. And they say that the prison conditions after independence was worse than before colonialism. When HH describes his prison conditions, so many decades after independence, aren't we ashamed? You want to just change government, which will keep making jails space, terrible jail space, inhuman jail space for other people except you. So we must fight the cancer, the system cancer. And we must speak against it clearly. And we must not be inconsistent. And we must not simply aim to change government. That has been done. We changed government. We thought white people were the rulers. We changed to a black man. No change. Change from UNIP to MMD, no change. Change MMD to PF, no change. You change PF to UPND, no change. And we want another no change change. And I mean, I'm so sorry I'm getting old. But when I wish I was 40 again.
I will take you back.
I wish I was 40 again when we could first count. I mean, you know, some people quite correctly thought to stand against Kaunda was naive. And perhaps we are naive. Maybe young people need to be naive. Maybe we are selfless. Young people need to be selfless. Maybe we are focused on the system. Young people need to be focused on the system, not on becoming councillors, becoming presidents, becoming MPs. If that is your only goal, there have been so many of you over the last 60 years. So if you are not going to be different from those, if you are not going to ensure that the others who are councillors, the others who are MPs, the others who are ministers are different from these we have had, then you are just wasting time. You are just a hustler. Of course, people get tired because our governments, to start with, we have not even discussed the socio-economic situation
of the country,
how decolonized it is. So at any given time, these economies run by the IMF, the World Bank, and thieves on the international so-called investor community
so you
cannot serve the people as a whole. It can serve a few people, it can bribe a few people, it can give jobs to a few people, but it cannot solve our entire socio-economic problems facing our people.
On the same, IMF has given Zambia conditions that they will not give us money anymore until we restructure.
I said the IMF cannot solve our problem. It's part of our problem. It cannot be part of our solution. Dependence on international global capital is part of our problem. It cannot be part of our solution. And if people are listening to decolonized minds that are beginning to speak out in Africa, they will get a message of what decolonization means. Doesn't mean asking for someone to be an investor, then he borrows even locally, he bribes your leaders, then you give him a contract, he finances your political parties, when they win, he cashes on contracts. That cannot be our solution. So at no time did I believe that the IMF and the World Bank. I'll tell you, there was only one time I almost joined UNIP. That was on May 1st, 1987, when Keke announced that we are breaking with IMF and the World Bank. Then I said, now we are serious.
Yeah.
I even volunteered. I was in the parastatals. In the parastatals, we are being paid better than in government. I volunteered to host a TV program in days, promoting the idea of development from our own resources. Then unfortunately, 18 months later, the Kaundas surrendered, took us back under worse conditions. By the way, the IMF has never changed these conditions. Has never changed.
So what should we do as a country now?
Forget the IMF, forget the World Bank. Rely on our people, rely on our resources. Have decolonized minds in leadership and propagate decolonized mind among our people, because the colonial experience, the post-colonial experience, has been brainwashing them. They think there is no option except the IMF. How do you think that we came to a stage where each time we're in economic problem, we go to Washington? I mean, that's not natural. And it's so against our history. Washington symbolizes everything in the last 400, 500 years.
Yes, yeah.
Of undermining Africa, underdevelopment Africa, making Africa dependent, making it underdeveloped, exploiting it, changing our governments left, right, and center. You hear these clowns in Washington talking about Traore. What gives them that audacity? Do you know what gives them that audacity? because the rest of the African leaders are still going to Washington. So they say if these Negroes keep coming here, and there's one or two of them who is resisting, then we are the masters. So we are the one empowering them, giving them room to run. What do they know about our country, which we don't know? What do they plan to do about our resources, which we don't have plans? We should have our own plans. The genuine development is self-development. There is no development that comes with land or resource dispossession. The IMF program is about land and resource dispossession. It's about disempowering our government. That's why they can order you reform. Reform what? What do they mean by reform? Have we discussed what do they mean by reform? You know what they mean by reform? They can pretend to bring in money, but we should be so well reformed that if they choose to just pretend and then take it away, or bring it and take it away, they should feel free to do that. Then we have created an enabling environment for our own exploitation. But the country needs to be liberated. We need to liberate the countries, African countries, from their colonial. We expect that every successive government should move us closer to liberation, not tie us tighter to imperialism. Yes, there's some non-African leader can even tell you, I will withdraw this, you won't have health services, I will withdraw this, you won't have. Is that what? Is that development? Development from dependency to dependency? Huh? That because dependency is not a good thing. Whether through dependency you are given 10 sweets, and then another clown comes, says through dependence we'll give you 12 seats. Then so we did more than that. No, we don't want to be dependent. We want to be independent, economically, socially, mentally, decolonized. That's what we want. Because again, in everything you point out, there is a feature of quantity and quality. And as for, even if you are counting schools, or the number of children, the number of desks, are you producing liberated minds who can fend for themselves without being dependent? Are you providing them with a system of economy in which they can participate? So as a free people, not participate that because your uncle is there, then you go to the life for a course. But as people, just as a citizen, you should have a minimum entitlement to health, to education, to jobs, to businesses, to contracts. Not that you should be a party cadre